Hello, viewers. Today I'll be discussing with you about the most important topic that is being discussed nowadays, that is about coronavirus. So, Coronaviruses are a large family of viruses that causes illness that ranges from common cold to more severe Middle East respiratory syndrome that is called as MERS and severe acute respiratory syndrome. Some coronaviruses causes illness in animals such as bats, camels and civets. Human coronaviruses generally causes mild illness such as common cold. So the coronavirus, the new strain that has been discovered is COVID-19, the 19th strain of coronavirus, COVID-19, that was discovered in 2019 and has not been earlier identified in humans. The epicenter of this pandemic, so now it is a pandemic outbreak, is when it is restricted to a particular area, and then it becomes epidemic when it is all over the country, and it becomes a pandemic when it is worldwide. It has spread to many countries in the world, and so WHO has declared this as a pandemic. So epicenter of this pandemic has been Wuhan, Hubei province in China, where it has caused a large and ongoing outbreak, and the first case of COVID-19 was reported on 17th of November 2019. So friends, coronaviruses are zoonotic, that is, they are transmitted between animals and humans. So detailed investigations found out that MERS, that is Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, was transmitted from dromedary camels to humans, which emerged in 2012, and severe acute respiratory syndrome, that is SARS, has been transmitted from civet cats to humans, that has emerged in 2002. So COVID-19, that is the new form of new strain of coronavirus, is closely related to a bat coronavirus, but investigations are being conducted till date to find out the animal from which the virus has been transmitted into humans. So there is no sure shot results that from which animal this coronavirus has been transmitted to humans. Now we'll be talking about spread of COVID-19. So human coronaviruses are spread from someone infected with COVID-19 virus to other close contacts with a person carrying COVID-19. Through how can they be spread? So virus COVID-19 is spread through contaminated droplets by coughing. If we have cough and the droplets fall on the person who is in contact, and he also gets infected, or by sneezing, or by contact with contaminated hands, surfaces, or objects. So, the incubation period for COVID 19. So, what do you mean by incubation period? That is the time when a person is exposed to the virus and when the first symptoms start appearing. That is typically 5 to 6 days, but its range is from 2 to 14 days. So, generally, it is said that if you have been overseas, the best thing is you should be in self isolation for about 14 days, because maximum duration is 14 days till the time you get the symptoms for this COVID-19. So most COVID-19 cases appear to be spread from people who have symptoms, but sometimes there are though very few cases when the person is asymptomatic and but still has the virus, and it gets spread to other person too. Now we'll be talking about symptoms of COVID-19. So the common symptoms of infection include respiratory symptoms. You can have fever, cough, shortness of breath, and breathing difficulties. So the most important things that differentiate this from the flu or common cold is the person suffering from COVID-19 will have fever. Obviously, they'll have the fever, and there'll be some breathing problem related to that like shortness of breath or any breathing difficulty. In more severe cases, infection can cause pneumonia, severe acute respiratory syndrome, that is SARS, kidney failure, and sometimes it is fatal and it can cause death too. Now, the most important question is how long does COVID 19 last on a surface? Like an infected person has touched a surface, like we are using public transports like trains, ferries, and so on. So, how long that the COVID 19 can last? So, there is no certain duration that has been declared by WHO that till when the COVID-19 survives on a surface, but it may persist on surface for a few hours or up to several days, but this may vary under different conditions too. So, for example, the type of the surface, the temperature, and humidity of the environment. So, that may result in variations. Maybe in hot, humid climate, the virus that is on surface dies sooner compared to the one when there is the surface is cool surface. Now we'll be talking about the prevention. So as you know, there is no cure till now for COVID-19, so the best thing is we must prevent it. As it is said, prevention is better than cure. So first thing is regular washing of hands with soap for at least 20 seconds. So washing should not be like it should be completed in 5 seconds, 10 seconds. It should be proper washing with soap for 20 seconds. And when you are coughing or sneezing, you should cover your mouth and nose so that no droplets are spread outside. And avoid close contact with anyone who is showing symptoms of respiratory illness such as coughing and sneezing. If you think a surface may be infected, you must clean it with household disinfectant so that the virus gets killed. And if you don't have soap or could not wash your hand, you are outside or you are in a train, so you must carry alcohol based hand rub, that is sanitizers, with you, and you should clean your hands with that. And when you are outside, you may touch any of the surface, like you are using lifts, you are touching anything in the supermarkets, grocery stores. So at that time you should avoid touching your eyes, mouth, and nose. And when you're back home, you should first of all wash your hands and then touch anything that is lying and in your home. So now we'll be talking about the difference, the basic difference between COVID-19 and the flu. And because you know, the flu season is also going on as there is change of weather. So the people are suffering from flu and common cold, and they are getting panicked that whether this is COVID-19 or it's just a common cold and the flu. So the first few symptoms of COVID-19 and influenza are often very similar because they both cause fever and some respiratory symptoms. But the spread of transmission is an important difference between the two viruses. Influenza has a shorter incubation period, so it spreads early and faster, whereas COVID 19 has a longer incubation period. And the most important thing is you have fever and respiratory problems in COVID 19. Um, that's it. What to do if you have a recent overseas history? So self isolate yourself, that's the best thing for 14 days because the symptoms appear within 14 days as the incubation period is from 2 to 14 days. So first of all, the thing is you should self isolate yourself and must not visit any place like any mall, any supermarket, any grocery store, and monitor yourself for symptoms. Check if you're having any symptoms related to fever, cough, cold, sneezing, respiratory problem, then you must go and get yourself checked. Otherwise, it means otherwise you don't have, if you don't have any symptom, that means you are safe enough. So if you develop fever or respiratory symptoms, contact your doctor or local emergency department. Now the next question is how long does COVID-19 infection last? So the infection period for the virus varies from person to person. It all depends upon your immunity. So the more immune your body is to infections, they will fight against the infection. So no need to worry if you get caught with COVID-19 infection, because if you have a good immune system, definitely your immune system will kill that virus. So it's not as dangerous virus as is HIV or is SARS. So it is its effect is much less, and people have recovered all over the world. The people have recovered with this. The best thing is, because the medicines are only effective against bacterial infections, we can have antibiotics, but for virus there is no, we cannot have any antibiotic or any medicine. So the best thing is, make your immunity stronger so that you are able to cope up with infection. And in severe cases they only need the medical treatment, like if the person has got pneumonia or some severe respiratory problem, then only he needs a treatment. Otherwise you need to self isolate yourself, stay at home, eat healthy, stay healthy, and be positive. You will recover from the disease. So mild symptoms in an otherwise healthy person may resolve. So the symptoms resolve over just a few days. For an individual with other ongoing health issues, such as if the individual is having already some respiratory condition, recovery may take weeks, and in severe cases could be potentially fatal. So I would add to it that the deaths that we have heard all over the world, they are mostly with the persons who are having some history of some respiratory problems, or they have low immune system. And the deaths are majority of the deaths are among the older groups, elderlies, because they have because the immune system is weak. That is the reason. Now comes the next thing. How would you able to diagnose for COVID-19? So infection with COVID-19 is diagnosed by finding evidence of the virus. So the evidence of the virus is checked in your respiratory samples. So swabs are taken from your nose, from the back of the nose or your throat, or fluid from the lungs is taken, and then they are tested if they contain the COVID-19 virus or not. So you must know that a close contact is typically someone who has face to face, who has been face to face for at least 15 minutes. So don't panic if someone near you in a mall or in a grocery store is sneezing. So no need to worry. But if you are having a close face to face contact with a person who is infectious for at least 15 minutes, or you are sitting or talking with them in a close space for at least 2 hours with a person that was infectious, only then you can catch the infection. Otherwise, going through passing across a person for a minute, for 2 minutes, will not result in getting infections. And make sure to clean your hands thoroughly for at least 20 seconds with soap and water, or use an alcohol based hand rub. Cover your nose and mouth when coughing and sneezing with tissue, and tissue should be immediately thrown in the bin. You should not be carrying the tissue throughout, that whenever I have to sneeze, I'll sneeze in this same tissue. Carry a handful bunch of tissues, and when you sneeze in the tissue, just throw it away. Or when you are coughing or sneezing, use your flexed elbow so that the droplets don't spread here and there, and you are not spreading the infection. Now the next question comes, who is at risk? So people who have been in contact with a person that is having COVID-19 are at risk, and the ones who have been overseas in the previous 14 days are also at risk. Otherwise, no need to panic. If you are having cough, if you are sneezing, if you are having common cold, that doesn't mean you would have COVID-19. So stay calm, be positive. Now, the last thing is talking about cure or vaccine. Though the researches have been going on in almost every country in the world, and the people and the scientists and doctors, they are working out to find any good vaccine for this. There has been a race for getting this done, but there are no vaccines till now for COVID-19, no specific treatment. But the best thing is, the most important is early diagnosis and general supportive care. Most of the times, you need not worry, symptoms will resolve on their own. Last but not the least, stay safe and take care and eat healthy food and avoid going to the places that are crowded. Keep social distancing, that's the best thing. You should avoid social gathering. Thank you.